Have you ever stared at your phone, reading the same message again and again, wondering if you said too much, or maybe not enough? Have you ever felt that shift, that quiet distance, where his energy changes, and suddenly you feel like you're guessing everything? You start replaying moments. Was I too available? Too emotional? Too honest? And then that thought comes in, soft but heavy. Did I do something wrong? Or worse, why do men always pull away when I start to care? And maybe you don't even say anything out loud, but inside, everything feels loud. Your chest feels tight. Your thoughts won't slow down. And the silence? It doesn't feel neutral. It feels personal. It feels like rejection, even when you don't have proof. And in that moment, you don't just want to reply. You want clarity. You want reassurance. You want to feel chosen. But instead, you feel like you're waiting, and waiting has never felt so heavy. Let's slow this down for a moment, because what you're feeling right now, it makes sense. It's not overthinking. It's not weakness. It's your nervous system responding to uncertainty when connection feels unstable. Your body doesn't stay calm. It tries to figure things out. It tries to protect you. Because somewhere inside, there's a fear of losing something that felt good. And that fear, it doesn't mean you're too much. It means you're human. Most women don't realize this, but that anxious feeling, it's not because you're needy. It's because you're emotionally invested without emotional security. And those are two very different things. You gave your attention, your energy, your openness. So of course, when something shifts, you feel it deeply. That doesn't make you irrational. It makes you aware. But here's the part no one talks about. Awareness without understanding turns into self-blame, and that's where the cycle begins. Now let's look at what's really happening beneath the surface, because this is where everything shifts. When a man pulls away, it doesn't automatically mean you did something wrong, and it definitely doesn't mean you're not enough. Sometimes it's about emotional capacity. Sometimes it's about where he is within himself. Men often move toward connection and then pull back to regain a sense of control. Not control over you, but control over themselves. Because intimacy requires presence. And presence requires emotional availability. And not every man is ready for that. So when things start to feel real, when the connection deepens, he may step back. Not because you're too much, but because the situation is asking more from him, and he knows how to give. And here's the important part. This isn't something you can fix, because it's not something you caused. Most women don't realize. They start internalizing a man's confusion as their own failure. But confusion is not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of his clarity. And those are not the same thing. Now this is where it gets difficult. Because when you feel distance, your instinct is to close the gap. To reach out. To clarify. To fix it before it breaks. You think, if I just say the right thing, maybe it will go back to how it was. But here's the truth. That energy, even when it comes from love, feels like pressure. Not loud pressure, not obvious pressure, but emotional pressure. Because instead of allowing space, you're trying to manage the connection. And the more you try to hold it together, the more it begins to feel unbalanced. This is where most women lose their emotional power without realizing it. Because chasing doesn't create attraction. It creates reassurance for the other person. And reassurance without effort lowers emotional investment. It sounds subtle, but it changes everything. Because now he doesn't have to lean in. You're already there. Now let's talk about silence. Because silence is often misunderstood. It feels like rejection, like something is wrong, but silence is actually information. It tells you what words cannot. It shows you consistency. It reveals effort. It exposes intention. Most women see silence and think, I need to do something. But grounded women observe. They don't rush to fill the space. They don't panic. They watch. Because silence answers a question you didn't know you needed to ask. Is this man showing up for me without being asked? And this is where the shift begins. From, why am I not enough? To, is this enough for me? That question changes your entire position. Because now, you're not trying to be chosen. You're deciding. And that is power. Here's something deeper. Something that takes time to see. There's a difference between giving and overgiving. Giving comes from wholeness. Overgiving comes from fear. Fear of losing. Fear of not being enough. Fear of being replaced. So you give more. More attention. More understanding. More patience. Hoping that it will make him stay. But here's the part no one talks about. When someone receives consistent access to you without earning it, they stop valuing it, not consciously, but emotionally. Because value is connected to effort, and effort requires space. When there is no space, there is no movement toward you, only comfort in your presence. And comfort without intention doesn't build connection. It maintains convenience. Self-respect is not about withholding love. It's about offering it where it's reciprocated, without forcing. Without proving. Without chasing. Now we come to something quiet but powerful. Standards, not rules, not ultimatums. Standards are internal. They don't need to be announced. They are simply lived. Most women think, if I set standards, I might lose him. But here's the truth. If you abandon your standards, you lose yourself. And slowly, that loss feels heavier than losing him ever would. Standards are not about pushing people away. They are about allowing the right ones to stay without confusion, without inconsistency, without emotional guessing. Because when you are grounded, you don't chase clarity. You require it. Not loudly. Not aggressively. And if it's not there, you don't argue. You don't convince. You simply step back. And that step back is not rejection. It's alignment. Now, here's the part that changes everything. The real power move is not saying more. It's not explaining more. It's not proving more. It's doing nothing. That comes from fear. It's staying grounded in the middle of uncertainty. It's allowing someone to show you exactly who they are, without interference, without correction. Without chasing. And if he comes back, you don't rush. You don't fall back into the same pattern. You stay present. You observe. You listen, not just to his words, but to his consistency. Because now, you're not trying to keep him. You're seeing if he aligns with you. And that is a completely different energy. It's calm. It's steady. It doesn't beg. It doesn't convince. It simply exists. With dignity. Take a breath and really feel this. You were never meant to chase love. You were never meant to earn attention. You were never meant to prove your worth to someone who cannot meet you. That anxiety you felt, it wasn't a flaw. It was a signal. A signal that something was not stable. And now you see it differently. You don't rush to fix. You don't rush to fill silence. You don't abandon yourself to keep someone else. You choose yourself. Quietly. Consistently. Without needing validation. And in that space, something shifts. You feel lighter. Clearer. More grounded. Because now You understand something most people don't. Attraction is not built in how much you give Dot. It's built on how you value yourself, Dot, and the woman who knows her value doesn't chase clarity. She becomes it, Dot, and from that place, she doesn't wait to be chosen, Dot. She already is, Dot, and that feels like peace.